Hey guys, how's it going? I've had an interesting day I've had an interesting experience happen to me a couple days ago. Um, and I'm gonna give you guys a little story about it. Well, the story starts, it was it was Wednesday, and I had a job interview scheduled at a local distribution center. Um, and we got our first snowstorm or snowfall, not really a snowstorm, of the year, and I checked the weather. It didn't look like it was going to snow that bad. Checked the weather a couple days beforehand, and it when I left, it was I went outside to load up. It was snowing. My mom basically told me, be careful, take your time, don't rush, and all that jazz. I went out there, got loaded up, left, made it about halfway through one of the towns I had to go through, and had to pull in some lady's driveway and take a piss. Ended up catching my coat on my drop down lever to operate my turn signal. Broke the end of my turn signal lever off, and then made it to the interview. Had to fill out the company job application because I just filled the application out on Indeed, which was what I thought all I had to do. And then to add insult to injury on top of that, before I left for the interview, I don't know why I did that, but before I left for the interview, I got a phone call from one of the career centers I was looking into going to about taking a welding class, and they asked me within the next couple days when I'd be able to go and come and meet with them and talk to them about taking the welding class. So anyway, I get to where I was doing the job application, or I get through with filling out the job application, and then here the guy that's giving the interviews is in a meeting, so I had to sit there because my interview was scheduled at, I believe it was 2 o'clock. I didn't get out of there until about 4:30, and then it started snowing even heavier when I was leaving. So I go out there, clean my truck off so I can drive home. And I was having problems with my four-wheel drive before this. I bought a new vacuum diaphragm for it. Put that in there, tested it out, it worked. So I texted Dad, let him know I was on my way home. He says, the roads are really bad, be careful, and put it in four-wheel drive. I did that. Well, I pull out I get to the end of the parking lot, or the end of their driveway rather, because it sits back off of the street, and I give it just a little bit of gas as I'm going to make a left-hand turn out onto the street, and I get loose, I get loose, and I end up going up over the curb. So I sit there for a second. Didn't do no damage, luckily, because I'm driving a four-wheel drive truck and it was just a little curb, so all I did was go up over it. I sat there for a second, kind of recollected myself, and looked in my mirrors, made sure nobody was coming, pulled out onto the street, spun a little bit, but was able to get going. Got to the granted, and I was even going like 20 miles under the speed limit. I was going maybe 30 or 25 to 30 in a 45 mile an hour zone. And then I pull out onto the main road, where the stretch of the main road I was at the time was 45 miles an hour. And then it goes up to 55. Well, I'm just putting along, going down the main drag. No problems. I get to my light where I have to make a turn. I make the turn, and here the road is just Well, for one, it's a kind of like a back country road almost, even though it's not really in a country, it's more of in a suburb. But in the country, I should say, more so in a suburb. And it's a county road, so it wasn't treated. And I'm driving down the road with no four-wheel drive. I'm driving like 10 miles an hour. And I get to a point where I go down the hill around a bend. There was a truck parked on the side of the road, so I had to go out and around the truck and get to kind of, it's like it's going uphill and then it has a bend to it as it goes up the hill. And when I start to go up the hill, my back tire spins, or my back tires start to spin. So it's like, okay. So I pull, and then my back end starts kind of going out towards the road, and I don't want to go out too far because on the right side, or the passenger side, which is the right side of the road, has a drainage ditch in it. So I stop. I kind of felt like my back tire either went in almost into the ditch or just off to the side of the road a little bit. So I stop, put my flashers on, and I call my father, because this is the first time since I've been licensed and driving by myself that I drove on a really slick road. Actually, the first time I've driven on a slick road, other than when I practiced in a parking lot with my dad about a year or so before that. And so I sit there, call him, I tell him, my back tires are spinning, what do I do? He's like, well, for the time, I pulled over, I put my flashers on, I'm kind of sitting in the middle of the street, but I can't go any further over because I don't want to end up in the ditch. Well, he says, just sit there and I'll be on my way over to see what we can do. So I'm sitting there, and then right after I hang up the phone, a guy driving probably a 2015 or so Silverado, pulling a trailer, comes down off the side street, slides and goes straight into the ditch. So, and then about maybe 20 minutes after that, the local police department shows up and checks on the guy in the truck, and then he walks over to me and looks at me and goes, yeah, you probably won't be going anywhere because they haven't plowed this, and it's a county road, and we've been trying to get them to come out here and plow it. And then there's this guy driving in a Trailblazer. He's coming off, I think, he was either coming off or coming the other direction on the same street that I was on, or coming off of the side street. I can't remember exactly which. But he come down, I see him sliding, and it's like, and how sometimes you just kind of get that feeling like, no matter what you do, because I couldn't move, and it's like, this guy, even if he attempted to stop, he's just going to hit me. So I kind of just braced for impact, put my hand as hard as I could onto the brakes, and guy hits me on my passenger side and shoves me into the ditch. So now I'm sitting like this, waiting for a tow truck to pull my truck out of the ditch. So I call my father again, let him know I don't think he'll be able to pull this out, because I didn't know if he was bringing his truck or my mom's car, or SUV I should say. So I'm sitting there, and it gets completely dark by this time. And then they finally have a tow truck come. They pull the guy with the truck and trailer out first. And while this is all happening, there's other people trying to go up and down the street, and they're spinning and revving. I thought the one guy in a van was going to blow his van up, trying to get up the street. But long story short, they pull us out, they make a police report and talk to my father and talk to me, and talk to the guy that did it. But right after they pulled the guy that hit me out, he left, and then luckily they blocked the street off. So, and if I can, I'm going to try and put some pictures in the video so you can see what it looked like. Luckily, the only damage I got to my truck was a little hole in my back bumper, which I do believe was where I put some JB Weld to fill a hole in, and I believe it just pushed the JB Weld out. But most importantly, I'm okay and it wasn't my fault. So that about wraps that story up. Hope you guys enjoyed, even though I make shitty videos anyway. But like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and then I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks. And have a good one. And enjoy your holidays, just in case I don't make another video before then. Thank you.